And then when I watched Richard Pryor, I went, you know what? You got to be lucky if you're talking about your life, if you're talking about real, relatable, or acting out authenticity. People seem to gravitate toward authenticity, toward real, toward who you are, even more than, though I did love the guys who did jokes. I loved Rodney Dangerfield and I loved, George Carlin, but even in his later years, he just started talking about his philosophies, which I actually loved even more. Yeah. But that's who I kind of look up to.
Well, the beautiful thing is there's no one way to do it. There's so many different ways. That's one of the weird things about comedy is that it's something that everybody enjoys, but there's no real school for it. Like, you could go to school and learn how to play guitar. There's some amazing guitar instructors, amazing people that could teach you how to write music. But there's nothing for you other than paying attention and trying to figure it out. And if you had told me, like if I didn't know you and you said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on stage. I don't have anything prepared. I'm just going to like fumble through it, and I got some rubber gloves in case shit goes sideways. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to watch a spectacular bombing. I would sit in the back of the room like, this guy's going to eat shit. But no, because whatever it is that you have, this weird intangible thing that you can't write down, that you can do that, and it's hilarious. My friend Dimitri, rest in peace, he sent me, he gave me one of your CDs when we were both like, I guess I was like 21 or 22. When did you do your first CD?
I did an album in '84.
Okay. So somewhere around then, a little bit after that, he gives me the CD. And it was a lot of that. But it was so funny. It was so ridiculous. We were like crying, laughing. Like me and him, he's like this fucking hulking national taekwondo champion dude, this enormous heavyweight guy, and he's like dying laughing, just dying laughing, with two of us in my car just laughing our asses off
because I'm just silly,
but it was so good, dude. It was so fun, and it was one of those things where you can't like figure out why that's funny. Like that's not
because it's funny, right. The sense of humor. I think most people don't have a sense of humor. I always say this, and a sense of humor is to find humor where other people don't find it. Richard Pryor found it in a very dark, bleak historical upbringing. Yeah, and characters that were probably scary, probably fucked up. And when he imitated them and told you these stories, we laughed really hard. That's why the tragedy and the comedy masks are very close together. They are close together. Yeah. And if you could find the humor in those moments, then that's what it is. The humor for me is I was drowning in public, and I have, and that's the truth. And I, as a kid growing up, I didn't have a fucking friend in the world. I'm weird. I have mental health issues, which weren't diagnosed until I was in my 40s. And everything I was ever expelled for, gotten in trouble for, paid for is what I get paid for today. And I found a stream that is flowing my way, but I feel more lucky than skilled.
What was it like? Because you had to develop an act, right? Because then you went on to do these huge places, and you're doing an hour. Like, you had an act. So how did you just piece it together with all the different performances?
Yes. So what I do and still do now is I put together an act. I put together, like, if something funny happens, I realized, well, then you could just talk about it, and you can just talk about it. And if you really talk about it, then it becomes something funny. And you could even talk about how I'm putting together an act. I was talking about how in my act, I'm here playing in town. I want to come over. Can I play?
2 shows tonight. Yeah.
I would love to drop in.
Come on down. Jim Brewer's going to be there.
I love Jim Brewer.
I love Jim Brewer.
And the club looks amazing. I've been watching it online, and I saw Chappelle. Everybody who's anybody comes by. I would like to. I'm playing also the Paramount Theater tonight.
Ron White's coming by tonight as well.
I would love to.
You got to come by.
I would definitely come by.
There's a 7 and a 10.
If nothing else, just to see the table in the green room.
You're coming on stage.
That table's
amazing.
Is that a real thing?
It's carved. It's all carved out of wood.
It looks like a crocodile or a snake.
There's a guy, Scott Dow. And it's the _Dow, I think, on Instagram.
I don't know.
Whatever it is. He's an amazing artist that used to cut things like ice sculptures and stuff with chainsaws, and then he eventually started doing these tables that are these 3D tables with like crocodiles swimming like halfway above the water. It's sick. Well, like, his artwork's incredible.
Well, his artwork is incredible, but I always wonder about these guys who do ice sculptures. Like your work is fucking incredible, but it melts. It's gone.
But this is an anaconda. The reason why I wanted an anaconda is jiu-jitsu. And jiu-jitsu, obviously, Brazilian jiu-jitsu comes from Brazil. The anaconda is the biggest snake in Brazil. It's the apex predator. These fucking things are enormous. And, you know, there's even moves called the anaconda that people use in jiu-jitsu. Because it's just, because it's just like this thing that squishes you.
Is that your